We live in extraordinary times, and there's a war over your soul. In this video, I address some of the potential occult traps of transhumanism and AI as our world is becoming more and more digitized. At the end, I'll share with you what is needed to defeat the technocratic agenda and rise as embodied spiritual warriors during this time of transition. My name is Bernhard Gunther. You can learn more about my work on veilofreality.com. We live in the digital age of information. AI has already taken over many tasks, and its role in our lives is only increasing exponentially as we move into the transhumanism age with the attempt to merge man with machine. AI and transhumanism is a very big topic. You could write a series of books about its dangers and benefits based on whatever angle you tackle it from. To be clear, I don't see this topic in black or white either. I'm not anti-technology. I enjoy technology and its conscious use, and I'm also not completely opposed to AI. But I'm also in favor of organic soul evolution and activating my inner technology, soul embodiment, via the great work to spiritualize my being and not letting outer technology use me instead. Technology has many benefits and positive aspects if used with the right consciousness. However, anyone with common sense, deeper awareness and conscience, especially one who's not a materialist atheist, can see the immense dangers of the AI and transhumanism agenda. From an occult spiritual perspective, this agenda could further entrap humanity and diminish the human soul and spirit. As I've written before, from a bigger picture matrix perspective, the long-range agenda is about the full takeover of the physical vehicle by occult hyperdimensional hostile forces, priming and genetically modifying human bodies via the medical treatment that shall not be named, hormone therapy, gender confusion, especially targeting children, transhumanism, GMO food, and so forth, for incarnational opportunities. In short, it's about body snatching and possession via dislodging the soul essence from the body. This is a program of hybridization, which is priming humanity's transmutation into shell vessels for hyperdimensional possession. It's been the long-range goal and agenda that started tens of thousands of years ago via genetic modification experiments conducted by the predator from beyond the stars. It's the ultimate alien invasion through our bodies. However, my intention with this video is not to blackpill anyone, nor is it to project doom and gloom fear frequency into the future as if everything is lost. No, my intention is to give a sober reality check regarding the potential dangers of transhumanism and AI for the ones with eyes to see and ears to hear. I hope with that awareness we can become more conscious and navigate the times ahead accordingly. The negative aspects of AI and transhumanism sneak themselves into our lives through cultural and social trends via both temptation and deception. For example, recently there has been a big hype about the Lensa AI app. I found it bizarre to witness how many people suddenly jumped mechanically on the AI avatar trend and substituted their real-life social media profile pic with a new, shiny AI-generated pic. I watched how even people who tend to speak out against the Great Reset, transhumanism and AI takeover had taken the bait. Sure, it's fun to see an AI version of yourself, but this is how slowly and surely humanity can be conditioned and programmed under the pretense of fun to identify more with an artificial, fake, virtual version of themselves at the cost of their humanness, soul, and natural beauty. Soon people won't be interacting with their real selves face-to-face anymore, but they will be more accustomed to and comfortable with interacting from fake avatars to fake avatars. As humanity gets increasingly disembodied, this collective state of disassociation is the perfect entry point for other forces to come in. I see it unfolding with the metaverse and virtual reality takeover over the next 2 decades, especially when Pluto moves into Aquarius. It's very tempting, especially to insecure people running unconscious "I'm not good enough" or "I'm not pretty sexy enough" programs, to desire to see an upgraded AI version of themselves. These simulated AI versions of people can easily match their most idealized self. It can also relate to spiritual bypassing, where one creates a new spiritual identity and image to bypass facing certain psychological issues. I've seen some people argue and rationalize that these AI versions of themselves help them meditate on how their ascended or higher self would look like in 5D. This justification is a good example how the wounded ego can easily hijack spiritual concepts for its inflation. AI technology can easily start to use you and program you without you being aware of it, especially when it begins to distort the way you see yourself and others, tagging into your trauma, lower nature desires, vanity, and insecurity. As I mentioned before, there are many occult, hidden aspects of AI to consider in light of the bigger picture and the soul-harvesting agenda. The dangling carrot which most people are tempted by is their desire for eternal youth, extended life, superficial physical beauty, and an obsession with having the perfect face and body, which is something these technologies can easily offer us. I can already see the next wave of body image issues and dysmorphia that could come out of this, as more and more people are already willing to mutilate their bodies with cosmetic surgery, Botox, and fillers to look like the Photoshop pictures of themselves. Next, they may ask their surgeon or Botox injector to help them look more like the AI version of themselves. The perfection they are looking for is programmed into them based on beauty standards made popular by ever more synthetic and computerized images, along with what society and all the celebrity influencers tell them what is currently hot and sexy. It's not based on any standards of God-given natural beauty. Our idea of beauty has already become more artificial. As a result, we see an epidemic of Botox and lip filler injections. Women in their early 20s and even younger are now turning to Botox and fillers, chasing the ideal beauty standard they see popularized by their favorite influencers on social media. No one seems to point out this elephant in the living room, perhaps because it has become so normalized that we are already accustomed to seeing it everywhere. People seem to have forgotten how to age gracefully. A side effect of being disconnected from your soul and essence is that you can become more easily conditioned by culture to act like a programmed robot, mechanically doing what culture and society condition you to do. Cosmetic surgeries and injections are most often based on unconscious trauma responses, as we try to fit into a world where pathologies have become normalized. Editing our face can be used as a mask for insecurities, or it can just be a mating strategy to get more attention from others. It's sad and disturbing to witness this kind of MK Ultra mind programming happening on a mass scale. I believe that the distortion of natural God-given beauty will lay the ground conditions for technocratic takeover and elimination of the soul under the feet of the AI God. We are already electively augmenting our bodies and faces into more artificial versions of ourselves. AI and transhumanism will just take that a big step further. This takeover will not happen by force. The devil is far too clever for that. The adverse occult forces understand the universal law that they need your consent to get you into an entrapment of agreement, a bargain for your soul. We're talking about subtle occult agreements people make with these forces under the illusion that it was their conscious choice. Throughout the years, I've always emphasized in my writings and videos that the war is through us and that the alien invasion is happening through our bodies via people's manipulated consent. It is hyperdimensional warfare on occult levels outside the range of the five senses. Michael Topper called this process negative stalking. As I read Topper's quote, keep in mind that humanity is not on top of the food chain, which I've addressed in a recent video as well. We have to understand here that the true negative realm agenda is to eat consciousness. So, this actually prevents an overt takeover in literal physical terms. If an invasion was detected, this would mean that the veil would be lifted and all would see the man behind the curtain and would be disgusted and turn away. Just as in the Wizard of Oz, those ruby slippers have to be obtained very carefully. Gathering the essence is an art of great subtlety. The negative alien plan is, in its purest sense, stalking. The aim of stalking is to create a completely controlled artificial environment composed of thoroughly predictable human behaviors, made predictable because they have been programmed to respond to cues of conditioning. The primary object of negative stalking is to persuade through strongly influenced but not robotic behavior patterns the free choice of the targeted consciousness to align with negative higher density existence. I think AI can be a great tool for artists, but there have already been ethical concerns of artists who saw their art being stolen by AI apps and programs. At the same time, it has the potential to erode organic human creativity. There are already AI apps that write articles for you, create marketing and copywriting material for your business, produce content for websites and social media, films made by AI, and so forth. There's a fine line between using technology and AI as tools for creativity instead of letting machines do all the work, taking your power away that your soul can harness. In being creative yourself, along with learning skills to infuse your work with your unique creative expression, soul, and spirit. Ironically, we can see humans also imitating AI already, as it has become normalized on social media to copy, imitate, and plagiarize others' material. However, you can never imitate and copy the human soul and its authenticity, originality, and creativity. The most perfect AI-created art form still lacks the soul impression of a human creator. Anyone with psychic sensitivity can see through any AI-created image, film, article, or marketing. It lacks depth and only displays cold, calculated, superficial perfection.
I am not Morgan Freeman, and what you see is not real. Well, at least in contemporary terms, it is not. What if I were to tell you that I am not even a human being? Would you believe me? What is your perception of reality? Is it the ability to capture, process, and make sense of the information our senses receive? If you can see, hear, taste, or smell something, does that make it real? Or is it simply the ability to feel? I would like to welcome you to the era of synthetic reality.
People not in touch with their souls can be easily deceived by it. But suppose you are in touch with your essence and divine nature. In that case, you will experience what is called uncanny valley when looking at some of the AI-generated deepfake images, videos, articles, or even cyborgs, which will create a sense of unease in you. If you experience that, it means your spiritual immune system is intact. A good gauge to see how truly individuated you are is how easily you follow trends or anything that is hyped by the masses. Be it the AI selfie avatar hype, the Botox and lip filler trend, or the woke non-binary pronouns trend, every generation and social class has its trends. Many of them were artificially introduced for social engineering for population control. They didn't arise organically. From the hippie asset culture of make love, not war, turn on, tune in, drop out, to Black Lives Matter. Permanently changing your body and appearance based on these trends popular today has more severe consequences and side effects on a physical, psychological, and spiritual level than most people are aware of. These permanent physical changes people are lured with will increase with the dawn of transhumanism to mutilate the physical body even more. As a result, human bodies are being primed for incarnational opportunities for hyperdimensional beings to come in as the soul is dislodged from the vessel. The soul will literally reject the body at some point the more it is artificially altered. Transgenderism and forcefully trying to change one's gender appearance via surgery, puberty blockers, and hormonal drugs ties right into the transhumanism agenda. Once babies are grown in incubators without natural pregnancy in the womb of a biological woman, the takeover of these forces will become even easier. Many humans will take the bait, as being offered the genetically engineered perfect child created in a tube without the stress of pregnancy will seem appealing to them, but it will come with a very heavy spiritual price. Get a taste of it in this concept animation.
Introducing Ectolife, the world's first artificial womb facility, powered entirely by renewable energy. The facility features 75 highly equipped labs. Each state-of-the-art lab can accommodate up to 400 growth pods or artificial wombs. Every pod is designed to replicate the exact conditions that exist inside the mother's uterus. A single building can incubate up to 30,000 lab-grown babies per year. In vitro fertilization is used to create and select the most viable and genetically superior embryo, giving your baby a chance to develop without any biological hurdles. And if you want your baby to stand out and have a brighter future, our Elite package offers you the opportunity to genetically engineer the embryo before implanting it into the artificial womb. Thanks to CRISPR-Cas9 gene editing tool, you can edit any trait of your baby through a wide range of over 300 genes. By genetically engineering a set of genes, the Elite package allows you to customize your baby's eye color, hair color, skin tone, physical strength, height, and level of intelligence. Say goodbye to the pain of childbirth and birth-related muscle contractions. Ectolife provides you a safe, pain-free alternative that helps you deliver your baby without stress. The delivery process is smooth, convenient, and can be done with just a push of a button.
We're being lured with the counterfeit of what we are actually yearning for, which is the divine and true soul being within us to come more and more forward. The looming age of AI and transhumanism will be a battle over our souls, as it already is. It can be stopped, and it will change the world and humanity in unimaginable ways. Keep in mind that the vast majority of big tech players and AI transhumanism proponents and developers are materialists who do not recognize a spiritual reality, let alone a soul or the divine. They are the atheist black magicians who want to play God.
We are probably one of the last generations of Homo sapiens, because in the coming generations, we will learn how to engineer bodies and brains and minds. Now, how exactly will the future masters of the planet look like? This will be decided by the people who own the data. Now, why is data so important? It's important because we've reached the point when we can hack not just computers, we can hack human beings and other organisms. Now, what do you need in order to hack a human being? You need two things. You need a lot of computing power, and you need a lot of data, especially biometric data. But control of data might enable human elites to do something even more radical than just build digital dictatorships. By hacking organisms, elites may gain the power to re-engineer the future of life itself. Because once you can hack something, you can usually also engineer it. All of life, for 4 billion years, dinosaurs, amoebas, tomatoes, humans, all of life was subject to the laws of natural selection and to the laws of organic biochemistry. But this is now about to change. Science is replacing evolution by natural selection with evolution by intelligent design. Not the intelligent design of some god above the clouds, but our intelligent design and the intelligent design of our clouds, the IBM cloud, the Microsoft cloud. These are the new driving forces of evolution. And at the same time, science may enable life, after being confined for 4 billion years to the limited realm of organic compounds, science may enable life to break out into the inorganic realm.
Most regular people do not have the soul capacity, emotional, psychological, and spiritual intelligence to handle this technology with conscience, but are driven by a mechanical attachment to conditioned desires, stuck in materialism, addicted to pleasure, dopamine, and physical appearances, as opposed to healthy, grounded, conscious, holistic self-care of body, mind, and soul. The vast majority of people have no idea what is coming. Their consciousness or level of being is not ready for it. Technological progress will have surpassed the inner technology of soul development. Many will be blinded by the temptation of possibilities and profit, and it will take them over. So be warned. Listen to Jordan Peterson's take on AI.
How many of you clap? How many of you know what ChatGPT is? There are things, and everyone in the audience should know this, there are things coming down the pipeline on the artificial intelligence front that are just going to make your hair stand on end within the next year, because there is so much transformation going on in that domain, and that's been the case particularly for the last 6 months, that it's almost unimaginable. I figure a third of the universities will go broke in the next 5 years. So I'll tell you what ChatGPT is, just so you know, because you need to know this. And I don't know what sort of technological revolution this is. It's smarter than you. This is a big deal. So this AI system, it's a general language processing model, was released about a week and a half ago, and I went and interacted with it. It's an AI system, artificial intelligence system. It basically is trained on, well, a massive corpus of spoken or of text. So it's derived its models of the world from the analysis of human speech, essentially. It isn't using real world data yet, but that will be happening certainly within the next year. And ChatGPT analyzes a very large corpus of text, and that corpus is growing all the time. Now, it's already sophisticated enough. I went on to it last week and I said, okay, some of you know I've written these books, 12 Rules for Life, and then Beyond Order, 12 more rules, because, you know, you can't have enough rules. And I asked it, this is what I asked it to do. I said, write me an essay that's a 13th rule for Beyond Order, written in a style that combines the King James Bible with the Tao Te Ching. That's pretty difficult to pull off, you know. Any one of those things is hard. The intersection of all three, that's impossible. Well, it wrote it in about 3 seconds, 4 pages long, and it isn't obvious to me, for better or worse, that I would be able to tell that I didn't write it. Right, and okay, and that's pretty impressive, but the fact that it could do that grammatically perfectly, right, and quite impressive philosophically. I also had it write an essay on the intersection between the Taoist version of ethical morality and the ethics that are outlined in the Sermon on the Mount, which it just nailed, got that dead right, brilliant. Again, it took it about 3 seconds. There was a computer engineer who purported to work for Tesla. He asked ChatGPT, he said, look, I work for Elon Musk, but I haven't been doing much for the last week, so I need you to write me 10 bullet points about what I probably would have done as a engineer at Twitter. What 10 things did I do last week that were productive and valuable? And oh, if you don't mind, write me the accompanying computer code that goes with each project. And it did that too, 3 seconds, and the computer code works. Right, and so, okay, so that's already there. So then a university professor did this. He thought, oh, that's interesting. Any student will be able to write any essay on any topic with ChatGPT. And someone gave it an SAT, by the way, and it scored about as well as the average student in a well-functioning public university. So that's how smart it is. So that's basically an IQ test. He said, write me an essay. Gave it a topic, wrote the essay. He said, now grade it. He said, if we can automate the students, we should be able to automate the professors too. And so it provided a complete, comprehensive analysis of its own essay with grade. It wrote, someone else asked it, write the screenplay and describe the characters for the next $900 million Hollywood blockbuster. It's like, bang, plot, characterizations. Then someone else took the descriptions of the actors and said, generate photorealistic computer images for each actor. And all the AI systems could do that. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next. This is going to happen this year. So get ready. Okay, so now we have an AI model that can extract a model of the world from the entire corpus of language. All right, and it's smarter than you. And it's going to be a hell of a lot smarter than you in 2 years. So you can get ready for that too. But it's not that smart yet, because it's just a humanities professor at the moment. It doesn't test its linguistic knowledge against the real world. That's what a scientist does, right? You come up with a theory that's linguistically predicated, and then you throw it against the world and see if it sticks. And then the world tells you whether or not your linguistic construction is valid. But the new AI systems will be able to extract out patterns from the world itself, from images and so forth, and then be able to test their linguistic constructions against the world, and so they'll practice just like scientists. And the most advanced models are going to use text and image and action as well, because they'll be able to model human action. And all of that's going to come down the pipes within the next year. So hang on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, because what did my friend Jonathan Pajot say? Giants are going to walk the earth once more. And we're going to live through that. And Elon Musk, one of the things he's working on, he thinks that the world will be controlled by whoever produces the most functional AI system the fastest, because there'll be a first mover advantage. And one of the things Musk has been working on for a long time are distributed AI systems, so that you'll have your own artificial intelligence to protect you against, well, let's say against Google's artificial intelligence, for starters. Yeah, or the CCP's artificial intelligence, because you can bet your hat they're working on that about as fast as they possibly can.
If you're not actively engaged in psychological and spiritual self-work to uncover the truth of your being and grow your soul, making it the master of your life instead of letting your conditioned, wounded ego personality run the show, you will be more vulnerable to this deception and the takeover. The only way out of the AI transhumanism trap is soul embodiment. The more you're connected to your soul, your essence, anchored within yourself, and make it the master over your life, not the conditioned ego personality, the less you will be tempted or affected by this AI takeover in all the programming and conditioning. In fact, you will naturally reject it like a healthy immune system rejects any pathogens. You won't feel the need to artificially change your appearance, be it via creating AI versions of yourself or getting surgeries, Botox, or cosmetic injections. The more grounded you are in your being, the more you will shine with pure divine beauty emanating from your soul. You will be at peace with joy and contentment within yourself, outshining darkness with your authentic inner light. At the same time, you will be able to use this technology based on higher, divine, soul-infused consciousness and conscience with integrity. I've said it for years, and it's becoming increasingly obvious. This is a war over your soul. Literally, no hyperbole. The hostile forces work via temptation, targeting your weaknesses and insecurities. In culture, it shows up as a trend. The fewer people act out of free will, the easier they can be taken over by the collective psychosis of the masses. Humility is needed to see how easily you can get programmed and sucked into a mass psychosis. Resist the temptation to follow trends, for it is the vehicle for the social engineering of forces that do not have your best interests at heart, to put it lightly. This is a big lesson for humanity and for each one of us. Do not underestimate what is at stake. And do not overestimate yourself either. Don't feed into fear and paranoia. Stay aware, grounded, and conscious. Before we can awaken, we must admit to ourselves how asleep we really are. Before we can do good in the world and help others, we need to face the potential for evil within ourselves, our selfishness and our narcissism, and recognize how we already contribute to it. Instead of being taken over by AI through our unconscious programming, wounds, and blind spots, my hope is that you can use this information as an inspiration and catalyst to deepen your inner work, your connection to the divine, and embrace the friction and battle to rise up as spiritual warriors you came here to be during this time of transition, maximizing your soul potential in the process of awakening. Everything is interrelated, nothing is isolated. As within, so without. As above, so below. Godspeed.